Today we're going to talk to you about doubt. You know, I think every Christian has a little doubt from time to time. Every man, woman, child has doubt from time to time. If you look in the Bible, even some of the godliest men had doubt at times. Even the disciples.
Speaking of the disciples, one disciple that went through a period of doubt was Thomas. And I'm going to read here John chapter 20, starting with verse 24. It says, "Now Thomas, also known as Didymus, one of the 12, was not with the disciples when Jesus came. So the other disciples told him, 'We have seen the Lord.' But he said to them, 'Unless I see the nail marks in his hands, and put my finger where the nails were, and put my hand into his side, I will not believe.' A week later, the disciples were in the house again, and Thomas was with them. Though the doors were locked, Jesus came and stood among them and said, 'Peace be with you.' Then he said to Thomas, 'Put your finger here, see my hands. Reach out your hand and put it into my side. Stop doubting and believe.' Thomas said to him, 'My Lord and my God.' Then Jesus told him, 'Because you have seen me, you have believed. Blessed are those who have not seen and yet believe.'" So Thomas, one of the disciples, he wasn't there the first time. Now this is after Jesus was resurrected from the grave. You know, he was in his resurrected body. And Thomas just couldn't believe it. He said, "Unless I see it with my own two eyes, I'm not going to believe it." So Jesus, knowing all things and knowing what Thomas said, when he came back a week later, he told Thomas, he said, "Reach your finger here and behold my hands." And to Thomas's credit, he didn't need to do it because he said, "My Lord and my God."
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Now, you know, another example is Peter. Peter and the disciples were out on the boat, and a bad storm came through, and they were all scared and fearful. And they looked out on the water, and Jesus was walking on the water towards them. And they were kind of scared, and they thought it was like a spirit or a ghost, I guess. And Peter said, "If it's really you, let me come out and walk on the water with you." And the Lord told him to come on. And Matthew 14, 29 through 31, it says, "Then Peter got down out of the boat. He walked on the water and came toward Jesus. But when he saw the wind, he was afraid and began to sink and cried out, 'Lord, save me.' Immediately, Jesus reached out his hand and caught him. 'You of little faith,' he said, 'why did you doubt?'" So, he was walking on the water. He was looking at Jesus, and he was walking on the water. He had faith. And when that storm came and the winds came, he took his eyes off the Lord and got scared and started to sink.
It's like he took his eyes off the Lord and looked at his circumstances, and that's when he sank.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If we keep our eyes on the Lord, our faith will be strong, we'll be in good shape.
Yeah.
If we take our eyes off the Lord and focus on our issues, our problems, that's when we're going to have doubt and we're going to run into problems. I guess that's human nature, but as Christians, we know that if we have our faith in Him and we keep our eyes on Him,
I mean,
it's
you're
all
right.
going to be good.
You're right. If you keep your eyes on Him, if you put your eyes on the circumstances around you, it's not going to be good. I think a lot of people today, they think that if I could only see Him, if I could only touch Him, I'd believe. I think the problem is not a lack of evidence of the death and resurrection of Jesus. The problem is the human heart. Some people say they have an intellectual problem with the Bible, but I believe that they won't believe it because they have moral problems. I mean, the Bible tells you that you're a sinner, and people don't want to accept that, but that's what the Bible says. We're all sinners. We've all fallen short. But what I was reading here, verse 29, is a verse that really stands out to me, because verse 29, Jesus tells Thomas, he said, because you've seen me, you believed. He said, but blessed are those who have not seen and yet believed. And there's a special blessing for us today who believe the evidence of the death and resurrection of Christ.
Keep your focus on Him and not your circumstances. By the way, I want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up. Subscribe to our channel if you like it. This is Truth.
See you on the next video.